What's up, guys? It's Jeramie with Jeramie Photography. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video, another Lightroom edit, something I did in the studio using natural light. Sadly, we are moving from the studio, so I'm going to a different location, so you're not going to see as many photos with this amazing light and this amazing location anymore. It's just time to move. So I'm going to show you guys a little something different, maybe using some Mastin Labs presets, and we're going to kind of play with that. But before we get started, if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Give this video a thumbs up if this helps out in any way, and I'm happy to make more videos for you guys. Go and comment below and let me know what you guys are looking for and thinking as far as your Lightroom edits go. This was shot with a Canon 5D Mark IV. This was shot with, let's pull it up here. You hit your info button and you kind of get your stuff. Shot at 1/1000th of a second at ISO 1600 at f2.8, 35mm Sigma Art 1.4. I had a large white reflector around this side, pushing back some light and just natural light. This is a full natural light shot. I don't know if you guys can tell as I'm looking at this photo, it's a little bit soft, but I love this shot anyways. I love the pose, I love the lighting, so I want to play with it and see if I can just add a little bit of sharpness, add a little bit of clarity to this and make this happen. So without further ado, let's get started, guys. It's like the YouTube thing to say. Alright, so I have Mastin Labs Fuji Pro. You can get this through Mastin Labs. Mastin's a little more expensive on their presets, but it's a basic system that you kind of go through the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and once you have those 4 things set up, then you're pretty much ready to go. So what I do before I even Mastin Labs anything or any presets is I make sure my exposure is right. So I'm using my Palette Gear system here, guys. PaletteGear.com, Wacom tablet, Magic Keyboard. So we're just going to get our exposure right, and you can kind of tell by your histogram here. So if you guys look, if you just play with this, it's a little bit different of a scenario where my backdrop is a little bit more high key than my client is. So even though looking at this, this tells me that this is like the proper exposure, and you can kind of tell it has to be balanced, right? So we're looking at this right here. I don't like that, so I always do everything to eye. So I'm just going to kind of go here and just play and get it to eye, and that feels good to me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have my 2 options. I'm going to go into neutral. I'm going to go into all hard. That's what she said. And then I'm going to highlight hard. That's kind of my go-to when I use Mastin Labs. And just with those 3 things that I've done, this is the before and this is the after. Before, after. I'm going to go down, and that's kind of my setup for Mastin. So Mastin is my base. I'm kind of done with it. I'm going to add a little bit of fade here. And just to give me a little bit more texture, look, I want that visco film, that film look. And even though I'm sometimes against it, I want to start bringing it into my work here because everybody's doing it. It's kind of the style. I'm starting to like it a little bit more, but I also want to make sure that I'm not overdoing it where it's too dark, too moody, because I want all my images to stay consistent to some point. So we've got that going. Now let's clean this up a little bit. I'm going to play with some color here, so I'm going to cool this down just a touch. And we're just tweaking this left and right, just nice and soft to get what I need. Boom. Whenever I edit, I notice that I'm always staring at the person's eye. So if you guys follow my work, I shoot a lot of people. And I always find myself looking at their eyes. So if their eye's not in focus, it really irritates me. As I'm feeling a little irritated right now that the eye's not in focus. The focus point looks to be like right here. Maybe the hair right here. Guys, I'm doing a little bit of skin smoothing here. I'm not going to leave the full set there. So skin smoothing is just a reduction of clarity at minus 70% in a brush. And I'm going to take that and I'm just going to, let's bring it down to like 50, just something soft. And you kind of look at the skin here. Not changing too much. She has a little spot right here on her chin, so I'm going to zoom in for you guys, even though I don't need to. I'm shooting on I'm editing on a 27-inch iMac. And the beauty with an iMac this size is that I don't have to zoom in as much as I normally would, say if you're working on a laptop or anything. So this zoomed in is huge for me right here, which is really nice with working with a large screen. So basically I can just kind of do all my edits and not have to worry about it. So we're always checking our progress as we're going. Just making sure we see any difference. I'm going to add a little bit more clarity here, and I actually have a clarity button here. And I do want to sharpen this up just a little bit. And again, I'm still staring at her eyes. Just make sure that Everything feels good and looks good. Trying to keep this video under 10 minutes. I think we're going to make it. So the next thing I want to do, guys, is I want to make sure that I'm playing with my, my dodging and burning. So I'm going to select my burn tool here first. Just a regular burn tool. I can always add to it. Burn, think of it as making everything darker. When you burn a piece of paper, it gets darker, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just burning already what is dark in the image. And what this is going to do is just going to accentuate a few things for me. Anything that's dark. She has this amazing long hair. So we're just going to kind of do that. We're going to go into, and just so you guys can see a little bit better, I'm going to go into here and just kind of just draw. We're just drawing right here. Perfect. Love that. And I do want to highlight just a little bit there. Now that looks a little intense, right? But like I said, we're not going to keep it. So I'm going to go to my exposure here and I'm just going to drop it here. There we go, just like that. And then we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to go new, and we're going to go to our dodge tool. And then we're just going to highlight some of these bright areas that are bright already. And the pen makes this so much easier, guys. If you're doing this on a mouse, like I'm sure you're used to it, and you think that you don't need a pen, and I was that way for years, and then I started using it. It took me about 3 or 4 days to get used to it on just some daily edits. And I was able to rock it out. We have some highlights here that I want to kind of pull out. Love it. Money. That looks awesome. Let's adjust the exposure again real quick. I want to play with the vignetting just a little, just to kind of bring it to the center here. Nothing too drastic. I never want to see a vignette that's like a full circle. Let's show you guys an example. I'm at -19. I never like this, right? That just looks like crap. So it's really just, you want to do a vignette that doesn't look like a vignette. And that feels good to me. So this has a little bit of a green tone. I'm going to see if I can just bump up the magenta just a little bit. There we go. And that's it, guys. So we took a natural light image, bumped the contrast up because that's my style, and played with it a little bit. No fancy gear. I mean, the Canon 5D Mark IV, you can do this with any camera, any lens, as long as you're shooting at that 2.8. Quick tip for myself is make sure you get it in focus no matter what. And that way you don't have to worry about playing with it too much. I didn't do anything to the eyes on here. I didn't need to. Her eyes have a nice little blue sparkle in them, and I'm happy with that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Hope this helps. I'm going to get some more videos like this for you guys. Stay tuned. And again, subscribe, comment. I will talk to you guys later. Have an awesome day.